Judy has found himself in a heap of damn trouble today with the Shedeur Sanders fan base. He gotta go. If it's anybody on his team that gotta go.
Judy just did something on a live TikTok stream that has the entire Shedeur Sanders fan base wide awake right now. Not a press conference, not an interview, a phone camera, a comment section, and one simple question. Who do you want as your starting quarterback? And the way Judy answered it without saying a single word is why people think this Cleveland quarterback room just changed forever. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you're going to see exactly what he did, why the timing matters, and what the Browns front office is actually doing behind the scenes while everybody argues about a TikTok clip. Let's start with what actually happened, because the clip itself is short, but the reaction to it has been loud. Judy was live on TikTok this week, and somebody in the chat asked him the one question every Browns fan wants answered. Who do you want to be your starting quarterback, Deshaun Watson or Shedeur Sanders? Judy didn't say a name. He didn't have to. He threw up a hand sign, the foes, and held it up for the camera long enough that there was no mistaking who he meant. Anyone who's been paying attention to Cleveland this offseason knows exactly what that gesture is tied to, and it wasn't tied to the rookie. Now here's why this is landing the way it's landing. This isn't some random fan making a claim about Judy's loyalty. This is Judy himself, unscripted, live, answering a direct question with a direct gesture. There's no interview editing here. There's no reporter spin. It's a receiver on the actual roster telling the internet in real time who he's rooting for, and it happened during the exact week training camp opens. And it's not landing in a vacuum either. Fans have been side-eyeing Judy since last season, pointing back to a sideline moment where he and Shedeur had a visible back and forth that never got fully explained. Add this TikTok clip on top of that history, and you can see why people aren't calling it a coincidence anymore. They're calling it a pattern. The timing is what turns a small clip into a real story. Camp battles are decided in July and August. Coaches watch every rep, but so does the locker room, and receivers talk. If the guy catching your passes is publicly signaling who he wants under center, that's not nothing. Whether it actually changes anything on the field is a different question, and we're going to get into that. But the reaction alone tells you how fragile this quarterback competition feels right now, and how fast one TikTok live can turn into a national storyline.
Start the season, and we got an update on the Browns admins as well. But Judy was asked, you feel me, who he want to be the starting quarterback, and he put his foes up. He put his foes all the way up in the air, so the world could see him throw them foes up. Now, this was the video. Now, I want you guys to pay close attention to the comments. Who you want? Y'all see that?
I see the mirror.
Y'all see that? Hold on. There it is right there. Let me blow this up all the way. Who you want to be your starting QB?
If a guy on your own roster won't back you in a comment section, what does that tell you about the locker room behind closed doors? So now the question everyone's asking is whether this is really about football or whether it's personal. And that sideline history from last year is exactly why people moment where Judy and Shedeur got into it in front of everybody. No context ever really given, and it's been sitting there ever since, like an unanswered question. When something like that never gets addressed, fans fill in the blanks themselves. And right now, the blank they're filling in is that Judy simply does not want Shedeur to be the guy. Some fans have gone further and floated the idea that Judy might not be giving Shedeur his best effort on the field, dropping catchable balls or not creating the same chemistry he shows with other quarterbacks. To be clear, that part is speculation. Nobody has film evidence of a receiver intentionally sabotaging a teammate, and that's a serious accusation to make about anybody's job. But you can understand why the theory exists. When a guy is public about who he wants, people start looking for reasons why and looking for proof everywhere else too. What we do know for a fact is that Judy has been the guy in that receiver room for a while. He's a veteran. He's the one with the track record in Cleveland. And when a new quarterback shows up and starts drawing headlines, getting merchandise deals, becoming the face of a franchise before he's even started 16 games, it's not hard to see how that shifts the locker room hierarchy, whether anybody says it out loud or not. That's really what this comes down to. A TikTok gesture by itself is small, but it's landing on top of a year of quiet tension, one unresolved sideline moment, and a locker room that's watching two quarterbacks battle for the same job in real time. Whether Judy meant it as a shot or just an honest answer to a fan's question, the fact that people are debating it this hard tells you the Browns' quarterback room is far from settled, no matter what the coaching staff says publicly.
Get this man out the locker room. Please, for the life of me, get this man away from Shedeur. He is going to sabotage him. What I've been telling y'all when it comes to Jeudy, because for some eerie reason, he making his business not to catch Shedeur balls at all. At all. He don't want to catch anything Shedeur throw. He gonna make it intentional to drop the ball, bro. He will sacrifice his own stats. That's how much I feel like he don't like Shedeur.
None of that sabotage talk has actual proof behind it, but the loyalty signal itself, that part happened on camera. Here's the piece of this that actually makes some sense once you step back from the drama. Before Shedeur Sanders ever put on a Browns uniform, Jeudy was the story in that receiver room. Alabama pedigree, a name Browns fans already knew, and the guy the offense ran through when Cleveland needed a big play. That's not nothing. That's the status you build over years. Then Shedeur shows up, and the whole conversation around the franchise shifts almost overnight. Jersey sales, national coverage, a rookie quarterback getting more attention in one offseason than most receivers get in a career. That's a real shift in who the spotlight is on, and it's fair to say that's an adjustment for anybody who was used to being the guy people talked about. None of that proves Judy is trying to hurt anybody's chances on purpose. Players get overlooked in coverage cycles all the time, and most of them handle it fine. But it does help explain why a gesture like the one on that TikTok live hit as hard as it did. It's not just a receiver picking a quarterback. To a lot of fans, it reads as one of the old faces of the franchise, quietly saying he's not fully on board with the new one, at the exact moment that the new one is trying to win a starting job. Is that jealousy? Maybe. Is it just an honest answer from a guy who's caught a lot of passes from Deshaun Watson and has real chemistry there? Also possible. The truth is probably somewhere in between, and neither the coaching staff nor Judy himself has said a word publicly to clear it up, which means the story stays alive exactly the way stories like this always do, filled in by fans instead of facts, at least until someone on the team actually addresses it.
I think he just don't like Shedeur because Shedeur got the juice. Before Shedeur got there, he was probably the man in Cleveland. Jeudy, big time wide receiver. I think he went to Alabama. He been the household name up there. This was his squad. He was the offensive guy. Well, I'm here to tell you, Shedeur came. You ain't the dude no more. Envy is the worst thing ever.
One guy's TikTok gesture is a rumor. The team's own social media account making a move is a lot harder to explain away. Now, here's the part of this story that's actually verifiable, and it's honestly more interesting than the TikTok clip. The Browns' own social media accounts have been running number 12 up front in graphics and posts, and this week, that switched over to a 2. For people who don't follow jersey numbers closely, Watson wears 12 and Shedeur wears 2. Whoever runs those team accounts made a visible choice to lead with the 2 instead of the 12. Now, it's important to be accurate here. The people running team social media are not the coaching staff, and they are not the front office making personnel calls. Todd Monken and General Manager Andrew Berry are the ones who actually decide who takes the first snap in September, and they've been clear that this camp is a real two-man competition that plays out through joint practices and all 3 preseason games before anything gets decided. Nobody in that building has said Shedeur has the job locked up, and nobody has said Watson is getting shipped out either. But you can't ignore that a jersey number swap on the official team account is a real visible signal, even if it's a small one. Whoever runs that account either made a mistake or made a choice, and either way, it's fuel for a fan base that's already primed to read into everything right now. Add that on top of Judy's TikTok Live, and you've got two separate signals in the same week, both pointing the same direction, even if neither one is an actual front office decision. So where does that leave things? It leaves you with a receiver who may or may not have thrown shade at a rookie quarterback, a jersey number swap that may or may not mean anything, and a real quarterback competition that the people actually in charge say is still wide open. The panic reaction online is real. Whether the substance behind it is real is a separate question, and that's exactly why this story isn't going away anytime soon.
12 wrist up. But now that 12 is going to be switched to a 2. And they pretty much showing us who they want to be the starting quarterback. Now, this is the admin. The admins run the team social medias. Those of you guys who do not know this. So the admins run the team social media. This is not part of the coaching staff. I just want y'all to understand that.
A TikTok gesture and a jersey graphic don't decide a starting job, but they tell you exactly how nervous this fan base has become. Let's bring this all together. Judy went live on TikTok, got asked who he wants as the starting quarterback, and answered with the gesture that plenty of people read as a vote for Deshaun Watson over Shedeur Sanders. That's on video, that's real, and that's why this took off the way it did. Everything after that, the sideline history, the sabotage theories, the jealousy talk, that's fans connecting dots that haven't officially been confirmed by anybody in the building. What is confirmed is that the Browns front office is running an actual open competition through camp and into the preseason games, and that a jersey number swap on the team's own social account gave fans one more reason to believe the wind is shifting towards Shedeur, regardless of what any one receiver thinks. Two separate signals, two different weights, one very loud reaction. So here's where I land on it. Judy's TikTok moment tells you exactly how he feels, whether it was meant as a shot or not, but it doesn't decide who starts week 1, and neither does a jersey number graphic on a team account. That decision is still sitting with Todd Monken and Andrew Berry, and they've made it clear this thing plays out on the field, not on TikTok Live. I want to know where you land on this. Do you think Judy just gave an honest answer, or do you think this is proof the locker room has already picked a side? Drop it in the comments, smash like, and subscribe.